Hi, everyone. This is the second video in my installments dealing with trying to increase engagement at City Hall for City Council meetings. The first video I did got a lot of good feedback, positive feedback, a lot of good advice as well. I knew that one was quite long. It was almost half an hour, I think 25 minutes total. This one will be a lot shorter. I will try to keep them a lot shorter, and this one will be a lot shorter just for the nature of the topic. So before I even got on city council, one of the things that I worked hard to sort of push forward and advocate for was more access to city council meetings because they were only being broadcast on Cogeco Cable 11. And while Cogeco does a great job, great community partner for that, a lot of people simply don't have cable. And in today's online era, we felt that there should be access and live streaming of city council meetings. So when city council ended up moving into the new city hall, they built in the live streaming features right into the new council chambers. So now live streaming is available for every single city council meeting as well as committee meeting that is held in council chambers. So I'm going to start off here just by showing you how to navigate to the city's website. So when you get to the city's website here, as similar to the city council meetings and the agendas, you go to City Hall down to city council meetings. When you get into this area, the middle area again is sort of the most important part. There's all kinds of other tabs, but if you go into city council standing committee meetings, hit agenda for city council, brings you into the next page with all the agendas for previous years, previous weeks down here, the upcoming agenda for May 4th. But under here, you'll see streaming video. So live streaming of the video. So when you want to see live streaming, you'll see the upcoming videos. There's the Development Heritage Standing Committee next Monday, the Environment and Transportation meeting, and then the next council meeting. You can go through here on the tab on the left and hit the calendar view. So if you scroll back, I'm going to use February 24th. I used that meeting for my last video, and it's a good regular meeting to show a lot of different issues, and it's a good example meeting. So if you go to February 24th, you click on it, you scroll down, you'll see that there was one meeting that day at 6 o'clock scheduled city council meeting. Different colors, different times for different meetings. For example, if you go to, I believe the 10th would have been a planning committee. So Development Heritage Standing Committee started at 4:30. So going back to the council meeting, click on it and it brings you to this page. So if you're watching it live and if you were tuning in live for an upcoming meeting, you would only see the video without any of the features on the right-hand side. It would just allow you to watch the meeting live. So it's a bird's eye view from the back of the room. The counselors sit here, 5 on each side, administration in the front, the mayor up top with the CAO and the clerk. And then in the back and in the front here are administration. This table here is for the delegates. Those delegates are oftentimes administration giving a presentation or delegates coming to speak to an item where they have 5 minutes to speak to an issue. This is the permanent view. It doesn't have the changing camera views like the Cogeco feed, unfortunately, but it's actually pretty clear, great sound, and it's driven by the microphone. So once the meeting starts, you'll see.
Good evening. We'll call the meeting to order. Please rise for the playing of the national anthem.
So you'll notice something here. So we'll pause it. There's information. This is a council meeting, Monday, February 24th, 2020. It was scheduled at 6 o'clock, and they gave it 6 hours, so it goes till midnight. What actually happened was that we started at 6:33. Now that happens when we went in camera and the in-camera meeting went long and we didn't come in and start the public session until 6:33, ended at 8:38. So it was only 2 hours and 5 minutes. And by our standards, that's actually a pretty short and concise meeting. So some of our meetings, my longest meeting is 14 and a half hours. 4 or 5 hour meetings are quite standard, easily going to 11 o'clock. Sometimes we start as early as 4:30 in camera. So for us to have 6, 7 hour meetings are nothing out of the ordinary. So once the meeting starts, these other two tabs here are really, really useful and great features of this tool. So you can go to the agenda and click on any of the so order of business or similar. If you're following along with the agenda, you can go and you can jump right to an issue. So the communications package, the consent agenda, deferrals, then a presentation, then the individual items. So 8.8 Vision Zero, 8.9 electric kick scooters. So it goes through and it really sort of highlights the individual issues, so you can flip back and forth all the way down to adjournment and statement. So, and then it tells you who did it and exactly at what time. So I'll flip to this one.
Statements,
So
Councillor
this was a
Borland.
statement I made at, and it tells you the time, 8:37 p.m.
Thank you. As noted this evening, the John Muir branch of the Windsor Public Library received a
So I'm not going to go through it all, but it was just statements are there to share information. That was sharing information that the John Muir branch received Ontario Governor, Lieutenant Governor's award for built heritage for the architecture project at the John Muir Library. So you can go here. So what you will use the kick scooter pilot as an example. If you go to the pilot project here,
It's carried. 8.9 electric kick scooter pilot citywide. Diane Bradford again. Good evening.
so here, once you go to the item, it will start with the
Fortunate that I'm
delegates.
still here. Just to review,
And
we deal
here
with
you'll
physics
notice
in our trauma center every single day in the form of
so that
mechanism of
the
injury.
delegate has taken a position and then
Road
they have a
safety
presentation.
is a huge
Unfortunately,
concern
you
for
can't
us.
see the presentation. It would be something that would be nice to include here, but you can't see the presentation, but you can follow along with the comments. Once the delegate is done,
Because
and we'll
it's
skip ahead here, you'll hear that.
Electric kick scooter pilot citywide. Diane Bradford again.
So then the mayor, once the delegate is done, if we go to the first counselor to
Administration.
speak,
Councillor Geniac.
Thank you,
so
Your Worship.
questions then start,
Just some
and you'll see the
clarification on
questions
page 5
here
of
in
the
order, go from Counselor Geniac to Morrison, Constante, all the way down, back around to the mayor. Usually when you see this, that this means that there's all questions. Here, there might be more questions or calling out of a motion.
To your point, Councillor, I think when it comes to scooters on transit buses, Council may want to give some consideration. You may opt just
So, and as you go along, you'll see that like there will be a some here, somewhere along the line there'll be a motion put forward, and sometimes these are comments to that motion. So the other aspect that's really great on this, so if you're interested in one item, so let's say you're tuning in to hit just the Vision Zero item, you could click on the Vision Zero, you can
8.8 Vision Zero policy
uh,
implementation. Diane
play it.
Bradford is here, manager
And
retail
so
trauma
again,
program, injury
hearing the
prevention, Windsor
delegates,
Regional
Diane
Hospital.
Bradford was a delegate, and then going through some questions and then a motion, and it was put forward. So you could follow along, or if you just are in general wanting to know, for example, what did my counselor say to? We'll scroll down to my name. So Councillor Reno Borderland, and here they deciphered two, calling me the chairman here. I don't know why. So you can skip to, I had a question on communications.
Thank you, Your Worship. Councillor Borland. Thank you. Rise on 7.1.8, the application for zoning amendment for 930 Mayor.
So what you can see is that I had a couple of questions, or either a question and a comment on the scooter pilot, and then I asked a council question during question period, made a statement during statement, and communications package. You can literally scroll down and just go to your counselor or try to see, what a specific counselor said. So Councillor Kashak spoke to the PWC internal audit, and that's all. Councillor Morrison spoke to the kick scooter pilot, and that was all. And so you'll see who spoke to what, and you can skip directly to those areas to hear what was said. So we'll go to Councillor Holtz. I believe he made the motion for the Vision Zero.
Direction. Councillor Holt.
Yeah, thank you, Worship. I'm just looking at the makeup of the Vision Zero Task Force, and if we move this thing forward, is there it,
So all this to show that basically, and then there's the usual video feature, so you can kick this out to see it full screen. You can just move the toggle at the bottom to go along if you want to just see, if you know that you just want to see the end of the meeting. So what this does is it's just a really great tool. It allows you to follow along afterwards. If you go back out here and you go back out to the month version, you'll see that there's a lot of other so if it's not on a Monday, so this would be the Community Services and Park Standing Committee. This was at 9 a.m. So if we click on this one, you'll see a little bit of a different makeup. Um, again, same bird's eye view, but basically the counselors on one side, staff administration on this side, delegates come to this table.
morning?
The meeting is only 44 minutes. But again, if you had specific issues, so you could follow an issue along from, um, say, the 8.1 Windsor Tequila Expo, you could follow this item along from the standing committee to council and see what questions were asked at standing committee. So, for example, as a counselor, I sit on this standing committee, but I don't sit on the transportation standing committee. So I could actually watch the debate at standing committee and see how that progressed before I actually go into a council meeting. So all this again, if you just exit here, I mean, go out to new recordings. These are the ones coming up. So this was the meeting from this past Monday, the last week's meeting, and then last few basically the last month's worth of meetings or so. We also saw these ones that are coming up. So all this to say that when you go into here and you following along the agenda, you can bring up the agenda or print out a certain page and then bring up the live stream and actually follow along. If you missed the meeting and you wanted to go back to a certain item, you have the availability to do so just by using these features. Best way to do it would be go to City Hall, go to city council meetings, bookmark this page so that whenever things come up, you can just click on here, go to Monday the 4th, go to live streaming, do whatever you wanted to see. So all of these tools are allowing you now to have that access. People say, "Oh, I didn't see the meeting." A lot of times media doesn't get it right or needs to make 4 or 5 issues before they get to print time, so they're rushing through stories. They don't get the full story. Sometimes it's a footnote as far as a paragraph about an issue. This allows you, especially if it's something that's so innocuous that isn't going to make the meeting, for example, changing of parking bylaw from one side of the street to the other on your section of street that you brought forward to your counselor, that came to council, it was debated, but you didn't see what happened. Now it could be on consent and it passes without debate, and that's fine. Otherwise, at standing committee, for example, there might be a longer debate on it. This allows you more access, direct access. So again, this is just trying to help you get engaged. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. I'll be posting this video later today, but hoping that, again, getting more feedback, we can do more of these videos to try to increase engagement and get people to follow along council meetings so they don't seem too foreign and too trepidatious actually to engage and follow along and ask questions. I hope you enjoy the video. Hope everyone is staying safe, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.